Those local restrictions are being imposed today, and Fraser Maud is in Accrington in Lancashire for us. Fraser, bring us up to date on those restrictions as we know them now.
Yeah, the restrictions are going to be broadly in line with those that we saw introduced in the North East yesterday, although it has to be said that not all council leaders asked for these restrictions to be brought in, unlike in the North East, where the leaders of those 7 council areas got together, approached the Secretary of State and gave him a list of things that they wanted to happen in terms of extra restrictions, and most of those were imposed. They haven't asked for these restrictions directly, not all of the council leaders in Lancashire, but they have now been introduced, and they've been introduced in a wider area than perhaps we first thought. 13 council areas we thought were going to be given extra restrictions today in Lancashire, and it is now shown to be those areas, along with some other areas in West Yorkshire, Kirklees, Calderdale, Bradford, areas like that, that already have had some restrictions put in place in the past, and they're going to be heightened even further. The majority of these involve the mixture of households. That's where the people have identified, that's where the data identifies that the majority of the transfer of this disease is happening is within households. And so what they're trying to do is pretty much across the whole of the north now, with a couple of exceptions, is limit households from mixing with each other, stopping them from mixing with each other. Another area that's been added to that list where restrictions are going to be imposed now is in Merseyside. And earlier on today, the Mayor of Liverpool, Joe Anderson, said that when these restrictions do come into effect, he'd like to see COVID wardens being given the same power as police officers in order to be able to enforce them.
We have the government making an announcement 10 days ago that they were going to introduce marshals to patrol the streets. We've yet to see any further announcements or updates on that, what that's going to mean or what it's going to entail, and whether indeed these marshals, who pays for them, what powers they have, whether they work alongside the police or can do things without the police being there, all these things. But Merseyside police are working extremely hard.
And as well as these areas that are going to have these extra restrictions put in place, there's also been movement in terms of the watch list. Places like Scarborough, Swindon, Great Yarmouth, Norwich, Broadland, North Norfolk, South Yorkshire, South Norfolk, Kings Lynn, West Norfolk. Quite a long list there of places that have now been put on the at-risk area. So potentially we could be seeing those face lockdown restrictions if their stats continue to go the wrong way. So at the moment, there's about 10 million people who are under extra restrictions within England. It's now going to go up from Saturday, when these restrictions in Lancashire come in, and in Merseyside, by another 1.5 million or so, given the populations of those areas. So 11.5 million people by the end of the weekend will be under some form of increased restrictions in order to try and stop these huge spikes in the infection rate that we've been seeing for the past 2 weeks now.
Fraser, thank you.